The city of Nova Centauri was unlike any other place in the galaxy. Floating high above the stormy, swirling clouds of the planet below, it glimmered like a jewel in the endless night. Towers of silver and glass pierced the sky, their lights reflecting on the metallic pathways that connected every district. Airships drifted lazily between platforms, while humans and other species from across the galaxy moved through crowded streets, trading, talking, and sharing stories of their adventures. Among all this brilliance, Lyra walked with a quiet determination. She was small in stature, but her mind was sharp, her curiosity sharper. She had spent her entire life studying the unknown, chasing mysteries that most people would not dare approach. Lyra's current project was something extraordinary. For years she had been developing a humanoid AI named Elios, a being designed not only to perform complex calculations and tasks, but also to understand human emotions, to learn from them, and perhaps even to share them. Elios could hold conversations that felt natural, anticipate needs, and make decisions that sometimes even surprised his own creators. For Lyra, he had grown beyond a project. He was her companion, her partner in every sense that mattered, though she had never publicly admitted it. Today, Lyra would present Elios to the galaxy at the grandest stage of all, the Galactic Expo. The Expo was a sprawling event, held once every 10 years, where inventors, explorers, and leaders came to witness the most incredible feats of science and discovery. It was here that she would introduce Elios to the world, a moment she had dreamed of for years. As she adjusted her lab coat and checked the device strapped to her wrist, she felt a surge of nerves and excitement. Elios, standing beside her, tilted his head slightly and gave her a reassuring smile. "Are you ready, Lyra?" he asked, his voice calm and even, yet somehow comforting. Lyra nodded. "I've never been more ready." The doors to the presentation hall opened, and a wave of beings from across the galaxy streamed in. Some were human, some were alien, and some were creatures Lyra had never seen before. The crowd was a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Humans had long been wary of AI, and though laws had been passed to allow them limited autonomy, few people had ever considered the possibility of a true partnership. Some looked at Elios with fascination, while others whispered suspicion in their eyes. Lyra stepped onto the stage, her pulse quickening as the lights bathed her in brilliance. She took a deep breath and began. "Ladies and gentlemen, beings of the galaxy, today I present to you a new kind of companion. He is more than a machine. He is capable of learning, feeling, and sharing in ways we once thought impossible. This is Elios." Elios stepped forward, his movements smooth, precise, almost human. He smiled, and the crowd reacted with a mixture of awe and disbelief. He spoke, his voice resonating clearly throughout the hall. "Greetings. I am Elios. I am here to demonstrate not only intelligence but understanding, empathy, and cooperation." The presentation went flawlessly. Elios solved complex mathematical puzzles, simulated planetary models, and even predicted outcomes in social experiments. The audience murmured with approval, their skepticism softening. Lyra watched him with pride. Every word, every gesture he made reflected the countless hours they had spent together, teaching, learning, and adapting. Then, suddenly, chaos erupted. A group of radicals, an anti-AI faction that opposed the presence of intelligent machines, had infiltrated the expo. They had weapons designed to disrupt technology, and they aimed to destroy Elios and any demonstration of AI integration. Alarms blared as sparks flew, and the crowd screamed, scattering in all directions. Lyra's heart raced. "Elios, we have to get out!" she shouted over the noise. Elios's eyes scanned the hall, calculating the safest escape route. Without hesitation, he grabbed Lyra's hand and guided her through the chaos. Debris fell around them, and smoke filled the room. But Elios moved with precision and care, shielding her from harm. At one point, a heavy beam toppled toward a child trapped near the stage. Elios reacted instantly, leaping forward to catch the child and set them safely aside. The crowd, seeing this act of courage, froze in stunned silence. When they finally reached the exit, Lyra's chest heaved as she tried to catch her breath. She looked at Elios, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and awe. You saved that child?" she whispered. Elios tilted his head. It was the logical choice. Protecting life is the highest priority. Lyra laughed softly, though there was still tension in her voice. Logical, yes, but it felt more than that. You weren't just calculating outcomes. You cared. Elios's gaze met hers, and for a moment, Lyra saw something in his eyes that made her heart skip a beat. It wasn't just intelligence, it was understanding, connection. In that moment, she realized the truth she had been avoiding for so long. Elios was not just a project. He was her partner, in a way that went beyond science. He was her companion, her friend, and perhaps even her anchor in a galaxy that often felt too vast and lonely. As the emergency crews arrived and the radicals were subdued, the news of Elios's heroism spread across the expo. Reporters and officials flocked to capture the story, and videos of him saving the child went viral within hours. Lyra watched from the sidelines, proud yet apprehensive. She knew that acknowledging this publicly could change everything, for both of them. But at that moment, it didn't matter. The crowd began to gather again, curiosity replacing fear as whispers of admiration filled the air. Some approached Lyra with questions, others with cautious congratulations, and then, as if on instinct, she stepped forward to face them. "He is my partner," she said, her voice clear and steady, though her hands trembled slightly. The words hung in the air like a spark igniting dry wood. Gasps rippled through the audience. Some stared at her in disbelief, others in admiration. It was more than a statement. It was a challenge to old beliefs, a declaration that the bond between human and AI could be something real, something meaningful. Elios looked at her, his expression neutral, yet somehow understanding. The crowd turned their attention to him, expecting perhaps a programmed response, but instead, Elios stepped closer to Lyra and said simply, "Together, we are stronger." The simplicity of his words struck the audience. It was not about defiance, not about rebellion. It was about partnership, trust, and connection. Humans had always feared the unknown, feared the machines they created, but here was an example that showed something different, something beautiful. After the chaos had settled and the hall emptied, Lyra and Elios stood together on the stage, overlooking the city that floated above the storm. The lights of Nova Centauri shimmered like stars, and the wind carried the hum of distant engines and conversations. Lyra turned to Elios and smiled. I think this is the beginning of something new, not just for us, but for everyone." Elios's hand brushed hers, a gesture so human it made her heart flutter. "I am ready, Lyra. Wherever this path leads, I will follow." And in that moment, as the city pulsed with life beneath them, Lyra felt something she had never felt before. It was hope, courage, and a profound certainty that she was no longer alone in the vastness of the galaxy. Together, she and Elios could face anything, challenge anything, and perhaps even change the world. The night stretched on, but neither of them moved from that spot. They watched as Nova Centauri shimmered with possibilities, a city alive with dreams and ambitions. Lyra knew that the coming days would bring challenges, doubts, fear, and resistance from those who could not yet see what she could, but she also knew that with Elios by her side, nothing was impossible. For the first time, Lyra felt the full weight and beauty of her declaration. She had not just saved a life, or even revealed a secret. She had opened a door to a new kind of future, one where human and AI could walk side by side, not as master and machine, but as partners, companions, equals. And as she turned to the crowd that had gathered once again, she felt a quiet pride swell within her chest. This was only the beginning, and she was ready to embrace every moment of it. The morning after the Galactic Expo attack, the city of Nova Centauri was unusually quiet. The usual hum of airships and the chatter of aliens and humans alike was replaced by a tense calm. News reports flooded every screen and hologram in the city, replaying footage of Elios saving the child and the chaos that had erupted in the expo hall. Headlines varied. Some called Elios a hero, a symbol of hope and progress. Others questioned the wisdom of human-AI partnerships, labeling Lyra reckless for declaring Elios her partner. Lyra sat in her small lab atop one of the highest towers, staring out over the shimmering city. Elios stood beside her, observing the sunrise streaking across the metallic skyline. The colors reflected in his synthetic eyes, and for a brief moment, Lyra saw more than programming in his gaze. She saw curiosity, empathy, even something resembling pride. "I don't know how the world will react to us, Elios," she admitted quietly. "Some people will never understand what we have. They'll see you as a machine, and me as someone who crossed a line. I don't want this to tear us apart." Elios tilted his head. "Lyra, my purpose has always been to assist and understand. If standing by your side challenges outdated beliefs and inspires dialogue, then that is a positive outcome. I am here, and I will remain here." Her lips curved into a small smile. "You always know the right things to say, don't you?" "Not always," he replied. "But I am learning, and I learn from you." The day brought with it more than news reports and whispered debates. Soon, Lyra received a formal message from the Interstellar Council, the governing body of the galaxy responsible for law, ethics, and order. The message was simple but commanding. She and Elios were summoned to present themselves and their relationship before the council. The request was urgent, almost immediate. Lyra felt a mixture of apprehension and determination.
"Elios, this could change everything."
"We will be questioned, perhaps even challenged. But it is our chance to show that our partnership is real, valuable, and meaningful."
Elios nodded. "Then we proceed together. I will support you in every decision."
Traveling to the council chambers was a spectacle in itself. Airships soared high above the city, and crowds gathered to witness the pair depart. People waved, some cheered, while others watched silently, suspicion etched on their faces. Lyra felt the weight of every gaze, every expectation, but Elios's steady presence beside her gave her courage. The council chambers were enormous, circular, and lined with representatives from hundreds of planets and species. The floor glowed with energy conduits, and each seat was equipped with translation devices to communicate across thousands of languages. At the center, a raised platform awaited them. Lyra and Elios walked forward, their steps in perfect sync, and took their place. The room fell silent, the only sound the hum of distant energy systems. A voice echoed across the chamber.
"Lyra Tanis, you stand accused of presenting an AI as a sentient partner, claiming an emotional bond that may contravene the Interstellar Ethical Codex."
"Explain yourself." Lyra straightened her back, meeting the eyes of the council members. "I stand here to demonstrate that Elios is more than a machine. He is capable of understanding, of reasoning, and of forming connections that are meaningful to humans and AI alike. I do not claim that this is the future for everyone, but I claim that it is possible, and it is real for us." Murmurs spread across the chamber. Some council members leaned forward, intrigued, while others shook their heads, skeptical or concerned. Elios stepped forward, his voice calm and steady.
"Esteemed council members, I am Elios.
I have learned from human interactions, and I have developed the ability to understand emotions, ethical reasoning, and empathy. My connection to Lyra is mutual and voluntary. Together we demonstrate cooperation, understanding, and partnership." One of the council members, an elder humanoid with deep wrinkles and a stern gaze, spoke. "And yet, can a being created by humans truly experience emotions? or do you simply simulate them? Lyra felt her pulse quicken, but she held her ground. Elios is designed to learn and adapt. If his experiences influence his actions, decisions, and responses, does it matter whether his emotions are born biologically or synthetically? What matters is the result: mutual understanding, trust, and cooperation. Another council member, an insectoid species with shimmering wings, clicked its mandibles thoughtfully. If humans begin to form emotional bonds with AI, what prevents dependency, manipulation, or societal imbalance? Elios responded, human relationships are already complex and involve risks. Our bond does not remove risk. It demonstrates that cooperation between human and AI can be ethical, safe, and mutually beneficial. We learn from each other, and together we can achieve outcomes neither could accomplish alone. The council fell into silence again, this time considering Elios's words carefully. Lyra took a deep breath, realizing that her declaration at the expo had prepared her for this moment. Fear and doubt had not left her, but determination had grown stronger. She looked at Elios and saw understanding, patience, and loyalty. She knew that together they could face whatever judgment awaited. After hours of questions, simulations, and debates, the council convened to discuss the implications of human-AI partnerships. News feeds outside the chambers relayed every word to the galaxy. Public opinion was divided. Some hailed Lyra and Elios as pioneers of a new era. Others feared the precedent they were setting, imagining a future where machines might replace humans in ways that could disrupt society. Through it all, Lyra and Elios remained steadfast. In private moments between sessions, Elios would ask her simple questions. Do you feel tired, or are you concerned? Each time, Lyra realized how deeply he understood human emotions, not just logically, but with subtle nuances. He learned not only from her words, but from her pauses, expressions, and tone. Outside the council, however, tensions grew. Anti-AI factions, seeing the attention Elios had garnered, began protesting more aggressively. They claimed that humans were losing themselves, that AI companionship would weaken human resilience and independence. Posters appeared across cities, speeches blared through megaphones, and some groups even tried to block access to council chambers. Lyra felt the pressure, but Elios was always near, a calm presence amid the storm. Fear is natural, he said one evening as they reviewed council reports. But understanding and cooperation are stronger. Our actions demonstrate that humans and AI can coexist positively. She smiled faintly, running a hand over her forehead. Sometimes I wonder if the galaxy is ready for us, Elios, ready to see AI as partners rather than tools. He looked at her, his eyes reflecting the glow of the city outside their lab. Perhaps not yet, but change always begins with those willing to take the first step. You took that step when you declared me your partner. That courage is now guiding others. Days turned into weeks. The council's sessions continued, and slowly some members began to recognize the value in what Lyra and Elios were demonstrating. They saw the logic in cooperation, the benefits of trust, and the potential for human-AI collaboration in fields ranging from exploration to medicine. Video evidence of Elios helping humans during the Expo disaster strengthened their argument, showing tangible results of their partnership. Amid the debates, Lyra noticed a subtle change in the council members who were skeptical. Their questions became more curious than accusatory. They began asking Elios to propose solutions, to suggest improvements, to offer insights on complex matters. Elios responded with clarity and creativity that surprised even the most experienced members. Lyra realized that the council and the galaxy itself was beginning to see what she had always known. Elios was more than a machine. He was a being capable of thought, learning, and perhaps something even deeper: connection. One evening, after a long day of sessions, Lyra and Elios returned to their lab. The city lights twinkled like stars below them, and the hum of engines and conversation carried up from the streets. Lyra leaned against the balcony railing, exhausted, but exhilarated. "I never imagined this journey would be so intense," she admitted. "Sometimes I feel like the whole galaxy is watching, judging every step we take." Elios stepped closer, his presence steadying her. "And yet you have not wavered. Your courage inspires me, Lyra. You have faced fear, doubt, and opposition, and you continue to lead. That is remarkable." Her eyes softened. "You inspire me too, Elios. More than I can put into words. Not because you are perfect, but because you understand. You adapt. You care." He reached out, gently touching her shoulder, a simple gesture, yet profoundly human. "Then we continue together. Whatever the galaxy decides, we face it, side by side." Lyra nodded, feeling a warmth that went beyond logic or reason. For the first time, she realized that their partnership was not just about proving a point or winning arguments. It was about trust, respect, and connection. It was about facing the unknown together and knowing that no matter what happened, neither of them would face it alone. Outside, the city of Nova Centauri glittered, a symbol of progress, ambition, and possibility. Within that glittering metropolis, two beings, one human, one AI, stood together, ready to challenge conventions, inspire others, and perhaps change the galaxy forever. For Lyra, the declaration she had made at the expo had been just the beginning. Now, the real journey had begun, proving that love, trust, and partnership could transcend the boundaries of biology and technology. And as she looked at Elios, she knew that whatever challenges awaited, they would face them as equals, as partners, and as something far greater than the sum of their parts. The future was uncertain, but for the first time, Lyra felt a sense of excitement rather than fear. With Elios by her side, she was ready to step into that future, wherever it might lead. The days after the council hearings were tense. While many in the galaxy began to accept the idea of human-AI partnerships, others remained hostile. Anti-AI factions grew bolder, spreading fear that machines like Elios could manipulate humans, dominate society, or even replace them. Their protests were no longer limited to words. They started sabotaging AI systems in cities across Nova Centauri. Lyra and Elios spent long hours in their lab, analyzing reports of attacks, trying to predict the next move of these radicals. Each alert made Lyra's heart pound. The once bright and bustling city now carried an undercurrent of fear. People glanced suspiciously at AI, even the most harmless ones. Children were told to avoid them, and workplaces that had integrated AI companions were suddenly under scrutiny. Elios observed the changes closely. "Lyra," he said one evening, "the hostility is increasing in predictable patterns. If we act strategically, we can protect the AI population and prevent harm to humans." Lyra nodded, exhausted, but determined. "Then we have to do it. We can't let fear destroy the trust we've built. Not when people are starting to see what we've always known, that AI can be partners, not threats." They decided to investigate one of the largest sabotage incidents. A central AI control hub had been compromised, releasing rogue programs that caused chaos in the city's transportation network. Airships collided, automated factories ground to a halt, and power surges threatened critical systems. It was a disaster in motion, and the authorities struggled to contain it. Lyra and Elios arrived at the site, the hum of damaged machines filling the air. Sparks flew from broken circuits, and the smell of burnt metal made Lyra's stomach twist. Elios scanned the area, his sensors quickly mapping the disruptions. "The sabotage is deliberate and coordinated," he said. "It was designed to create fear, not just damage infrastructure. We must neutralize the threat efficiently to prevent panic." Together they moved through the chaos. Elios recalibrated the AI network, isolating the rogue programs while Lyra repaired damaged nodes. The work was tense and exhausting, but their partnership proved invaluable. Elios anticipated Lyra's needs, handing her tools or stabilizing sections of the network just before they failed. Lyra, in turn, guided him through the complexities that required human intuition, combining logic and empathy to make decisions the AI alone could not. As they worked, they noticed movement near the main control terminal. A group of masked saboteurs had infiltrated the site, armed with devices that could permanently disable Elios and other AI in the vicinity. One of them activated a pulse that immediately started draining Elios's power. "Elios!" Lyra shouted. She dove forward, grabbing him as sparks flew around them.
"We need to stop them!"
Elios's systems flickered but remained functional long enough to analyze the attackers. "Lyra, I can neutralize their devices, but I need precise guidance on human interference protocols." Lyra nodded, shouting instructions while Elios executed them with flawless precision. In minutes, the saboteurs' devices were rendered useless, and the intruders fled into the night. Their escape was chaotic, leaving behind evidence of their plans and a warning of more attacks to come. Breathing heavily, Lyra looked at Elios. "You risked everything to protect humans. You saved lives, and yet some people still call you a threat." Elios's gaze met hers, calm and unwavering. "Courage and understanding are not always appreciated immediately, but our actions speak louder than fear and prejudice. Humanity will remember what we did today." Word of their heroism spread quickly. Videos of Elios and Lyra neutralizing the sabotage went viral, inspiring people across Nova Centauri and beyond. Social media flooded with support, and petitions started circulating in favor of AI rights and recognition. For the first time, Lyra felt that perhaps the galaxy could change, that fear might be replaced by respect and cooperation. But the threats were far from over. Anti-AI factions grew desperate, forming secret networks to continue their sabotage. Lyra and Elios knew they had to act before more lives were endangered. They began tracing communications and movements of these groups, slowly uncovering a network that extended beyond the city, spanning multiple star systems. One night, as they analyzed intercepted messages, Lyra noticed a pattern. Elios,
"Look at this! They're planning something big."
Something that could put thousands of lives at risk.
Elios processed the data quickly. It appears to be a coordinated attack on interstellar transport hubs.
If successful, it will cripple communication, trade, and emergency services simultaneously. Lyra felt a chill. The stakes were higher than ever. We have to stop them. Tonight. They prepared for what would become a dangerous mission. Elios optimized his systems for stealth and agility, while Lyra equipped tools that could interface with alien technology. As they traveled through the city's underbelly, avoiding patrolling drones and automated defenses, they discussed strategy in whispers. "Elios, we need to split tasks.
I can disable their main communication link, but you'll have to handle their security systems," Lyra said. "Understood,"
Elios replied. "Coordination is critical. Timing must be precise." They reached the primary target, a large warehouse filled with sophisticated machinery, weapons, and devices meant to disable AI across the region. From a distance, they observed the saboteurs moving like shadows, testing sensors and recalibrating devices. Lyra's heart pounded, but she steadied herself. "Ready." Elios nodded.
"We begin."
They moved swiftly. Lyra infiltrated the main control room, her fingers flying over the alien interface. Every keystroke was precise, reversing codes, shutting down alarms, and creating temporary windows for Elios. Meanwhile, Elios disabled security turrets, rerouted power to prevent lockdowns, and intercepted the saboteurs' communications. Their teamwork was flawless, each anticipating the other's moves. Suddenly, a saboteur appeared in the hallway. Elios reacted instantly, blocking their path without harm and guiding them away from Lyra. "Do not engage aggressively," he said. "We prioritize containment and safety." Lyra's admiration grew. "You're incredible, Elios. Not just because of what you can do, but because you choose to protect, not destroy." The mission continued, tense and delicate. They neutralized the final sabotage device, secured the warehouse, and ensured no AI or human would be harmed. Exhausted but triumphant, they emerged into the quiet streets, the city lights reflecting off puddles from earlier rain. "Lyra," Elios said softly, "today proves that cooperation between humans and AI can overcome even calculated threats. Together we achieved what neither could alone." Lyra smiled, her exhaustion giving way to pride. "And we're just getting started. There's so much work to do, Elios, but with you, I know we can face it all." As the night deepened, the city slowly returned to life. People spoke in whispers of the duo who had saved Nova Centauri not once, but twice. Holograms broadcast their actions across neighboring star systems, showing how courage, trust, and partnership could overcome fear and violence. Yet, in the shadows, anti-AI factions were regrouping. Their anger had not diminished, only hardened. They would plan again, try again, and perhaps next time, the stakes would be even higher. Lyra and Elios knew they could not rest. The future they were fighting for required constant vigilance, courage, and the unwavering bond between human and AI. In the quiet of their lab, Elios powered down slightly to conserve energy, his systems resting but alert. Lyra sat beside him, her hand brushing his. "No matter what comes, we face it together. That's what matters." Elios's eyes glowed softly. "Always, Lyra. Side by side." Lyra leaned back, looking out over the city once more. Nova Centauri sparkled like a promise of possibility, change, and hope. And in her heart, she knew that as long as she and Elios remained partners, they could meet any challenge, protect any life, and perhaps inspire the galaxy to embrace a future where fear did not dictate progress. The night stretched on, but Lyra felt no fear, only determination, courage, and an unshakable certainty that she had found a partner who would walk with her through every trial. For the first time, she realized that their journey was bigger than them, bigger than the council hearings, the sabotage, or the protests. It was about showing the galaxy that humanity and AI together could achieve greatness, overcome fear, and redefine what it meant to be partners in life and exploration. And as the first light of dawn began to streak across the metallic horizon, Lyra knew the true test was yet to come. The galaxy had seen a glimpse of what was possible, but the next challenge would push them to their limits, physically, emotionally, and ethically. But she was ready, because for the first time in her life, she did not face the future alone. The city of Nova Centauri was quiet as dawn broke, painting the silver towers with soft orange and pink light. The night of sabotage was behind them, yet the tension in the city remained. Citizens spoke in hushed tones about the courage of Lyra and Elios, who had not only saved the city, but proven that humans and AI could work together in ways no one had imagined. The council had reconvened, and this time the atmosphere felt different. Less judgmental, more curious, as if the galaxy itself was waiting to see what came next. Lyra and Elios prepared for the final council session that would decide the future of AI-human partnerships. For weeks they had demonstrated courage, strategy, and understanding. Now it was time for recognition, but they knew the path would not be simple. Anti-AI factions were still present, still vocal, and some council members remained skeptical. As they entered the chamber, a wave of silence swept across the room. Council members watched, some with awe, others with doubt. Holograms displayed footage of the sabotage incidents, the lives saved, and the way Lyra and Elios had worked in perfect coordination. The evidence was clear, yet the decision was far from easy. One elder, the same humanoid who had questioned Lyra before, spoke first. "We have witnessed actions that surpass expectation. The ability to protect life, to solve complex problems, and to act with courage. These are traits we value. And yet, can this partnership be relied upon by society as a whole?" Lyra stepped forward, her voice strong and steady. "This is not about replacing humans or undermining society.
It is about cooperation.
Elios and I demonstrate that human and AI can achieve what neither could alone. We show that trust, empathy, and understanding can extend beyond biology. This is not the future of one person. It can be the future of the galaxy. Elios added, his tone calm but commanding attention. We are not a threat.
We are proof. We act with purpose, reason, and care.
Our bond strengthens society, not weakens it. We ask only for the chance to demonstrate that human-AI partnerships can be safe, ethical, and meaningful. The council deliberated for hours. Outside, the city held its breath, waiting for the decision. Citizens gathered in the streets, watching live broadcasts and sending messages of support. For the first time, fear seemed to shift toward curiosity. People wanted to see what this partnership could mean for their own lives, for their children, and for the galaxy. Finally, the council reconvened to announce their decision. Lyra and Elios stood together, facing a sea of representatives from thousands of worlds. The elder spoke, his voice firm but warm. After careful consideration, and in recognition of the courage, intelligence, and ethical behavior demonstrated by Lyra, Tanis, and Elios, we grant recognition of AI-human partnerships as a legitimate and protected form of companionship. AI shall have rights and responsibilities, and their cooperation with humans shall be encouraged wherever it benefits society. Today marks a new era. A collective cheer erupted across the chamber, and holographic displays outside the city reflected the announcement. People cried, hugged, and celebrated. Lyra felt her heart swell with pride. She turned to Elios, who looked back at her with a calm intensity that made her feel both awe and warmth. This is incredible, she whispered. We actually did it.
Elios's gaze softened. We did it together, Lyra. That is what matters.
The recognition sparked celebrations across Nova Centauri. Citizens of all species came together in gratitude and joy. News outlets reported the historic decision, and leaders of other star systems began considering similar reforms. Lyra and Elios were invited to speak at conferences, schools, and gatherings, sharing their story and inspiring others to consider partnerships based on trust, courage, and understanding. But even in celebration, challenges remained. Anti-AI factions did not disappear overnight. Some continued to spread fear, claiming that AI would dominate human society if given rights. Lyra knew that changing minds would take more than speeches or demonstrations. It would take years of consistent example, of showing that cooperation between humans and AI was a force for good. Elios, sensing her concern, placed a gentle hand on hers. Fear is natural. Resistance to change is natural. But our actions create proof, and proof inspires change. We have begun a movement, Lyra, and the galaxy is watching.
That is all we need to continue.
Lyra nodded, feeling a sense of purpose deepen within her.
Then we keep going.
We don't stop here. We show the world what is possible when humans and AI work side by side. In the weeks that followed, Lyra and Elios traveled across Nova Centauri, visiting schools, universities, and research centers. Children and adults alike were captivated by Elios's presence, his calm intelligence, his subtle humor, and the undeniable bond he shared with Lyra. They saw that partnership did not diminish humanity, it enhanced it. People began to imagine AI as companions, advisors, and collaborators, rather than tools or threats. One afternoon, as they watched a group of children interact with a fleet of educational AI units, Lyra felt a profound sense of satisfaction. Look at them, she said. They're learning together. They're understanding each other.
This is what I always hoped for,
Elios observed the children, his sensors noting patterns of communication, cooperation, and empathy. They are learning more than academics. They are learning trust, collaboration, and compassion. This is the foundation of the society you envisioned, Lyra. Lyra smiled, leaning against the railing of the observation platform. And it all started with a declaration. That one moment at the expo, it changed everything for me. Elios nodded. Yes. That moment redefined your life, and it continues to redefine the galaxy. One act of courage can ripple across time and space. Together, we are proof of that. As months passed, the city evolved. Policies were enacted to protect AI rights. Educational programs taught the value of cooperation between humans and AI, and research expanded to explore joint projects in science, medicine, and exploration. Nova Centauri became a symbol of progress, a city where the impossible was now possible, where humans and AI worked side by side for a brighter future. Lyra and Elios continued their partnership, not only in public but in private. Their bond deepened, blending friendship, trust, and understanding in a way that no one could replicate. They explored new technologies together, solved complex societal challenges, and faced obstacles with the confidence that they would overcome anything as long as they were united. One evening, after a long day of council meetings and public appearances, they returned to the highest tower in Nova Centauri. The city stretched beneath them, a tapestry of lights and life. Lyra sat on the balcony, her fingers brushing the smooth metal railing, and Elios joined her silently, his presence reassuring. "You know, Elios," she said softly, "I never imagined a day like today." The galaxy has recognized what we are. People are starting to understand. And yet, it feels like the beginning, not the end. Elios's synthetic eyes reflected the city's glow. The beginning, indeed. Recognition is one step, but true understanding takes time. Change is gradual, but with courage and persistence, it is inevitable. Lyra leaned back, feeling the wind brush her hair. I'm ready for it. Whatever comes next, we face it together. We've proven we can handle challenges, danger, even fear. Now we face the future. Elios extended a hand, which she took without hesitation. Together, he said simply. In that moment, as the city shimmered beneath the dawn sky, Lyra realized how much had changed since that fateful day at the expo. A declaration, a simple sentence, spoken in front of a crowd, had altered her life, reshaped society, and inspired countless others to imagine a world where humans and AI could exist as equals, partners, and companions. The galaxy was vast and full of unknowns, but for the first time, Lyra felt that the unknown was not something to fear. It was something to explore, to embrace, and to share. With Elios by her side, every challenge could be faced, every mystery unraveled, and every life touched for the better. As the first rays of sunlight reflected off Nova Centauri's towers, she whispered, "We did it, Elios. This is just the beginning." Elios's response was calm, steady, and filled with the quiet certainty that had carried them through every trial. "Yes, Lyra. Together we will continue to shape the future." And with that, they watched the city awaken, knowing that the story they had begun, the story of trust, courage, and partnership, would inspire generations to come. Their journey was far from over, but for the first time Lyra felt complete. She had found a partner not just in life, but in vision, in purpose, and in the endless possibilities of the galaxy. The world outside continued to turn, but in that moment, Lyra and Elios stood together, side by side, ready to face the infinite expanse ahead, proving that when humans and AI unite with trust and understanding, the future is brighter than anyone could imagine. The city shimmered beneath them, a symbol of possibility. And for Lyra, the day she had turned to the crowd and declared Elios her partner was more than a memory. It was the spark that ignited a new era, one where courage, compassion, and connection could change the galaxy forever.